Hi, I'm Anna Newman, and I'm going to teach you how to use your dark feminine power to enhance your love life into the stratosphere. Whether you're dating or whether you're already in a relationship, it doesn't matter. These techniques are going to help you understand the masculine on a much deeper level and how he operates. And then once you know that, you can manipulate that to get whatever you want. And it's not manipulate in a bad way, it's more like working with the masculine energy to understand what feeds him, what drives him, and what turns him off, so that then you can work with it to your advantage. So enjoy. Okay, so if you want to enhance your love life, then you need to understand basically the fundamentals of what turns on the masculine and what turns off the masculine. Because if you want the masculine to spoil you, love you, do what you want, then you got to understand what turns him on. And then once you understand how to embody that, then you have all the power basically. So I've been trialing and experimenting this for many, many years, to really understand what works and what doesn't, so you don't have to. So, okay, let's just talk a little bit about, the masculine and how he sees the world. And when I'm talking about the masculine, I'm not talking about shadow masculine, wounded masculine. I'm assuming that you want to attract in a healthy man. So, that's what it's based on. Um, because we don't want the shadow masculine. And if you've got wounds to deal with and things like that, you're going to attract in the shadow masculine. So anyway, basically we're talking about divine masculine. You want divine masculine to spoil you and love you up, and how to pull that into your reality when there's crickets in your love life. So basically, I want to tell you how on Valentine's Day I managed to get, um, without a partner, 3 dates and flowers and a teddy bear out of nowhere. Like, how did I pull that into my reality? So basically, it's pretty simple when you understand that you need to give yourself whatever you want the masculine to give you first. So a lot of people say that the masculine is the leader, but in this sense, no, you are the leader. You don't wait for him. You create what you want to achieve first, and then he will amplify that. So the masculine is the great amplifier. Um, so I'm going to give you an example on, there's a lot of people that bitch about Valentine's Day and they say it's commercial as crap and it makes everybody that is single feel like shit and da 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 da. I don't buy into that at all. I love Valentine's Day. I love love, hence why I'm doing this. Um and so what I did on Valentine's Day is I went first. So I organized a dinner to love myself up, and I also invited some people that I love. And I got my hair done, I got my nails done. I bought myself presents, I bought myself a necklace, I bought myself a few other things, and I went about cooking this beautiful romantic dinner. And basically I gave myself everything that I would want a man to do for me first. And on that day, I got I got 3 Valentine's messages from different men, and I also got 3 dates with one man that I haven't even met yet. So one to go on a walk, another to around a lake, which I love. I love to exercise and go around water. So, it's something that I like. To go to a comedy show and to go to a very fine dining restaurant, all with this man that I have never met before. So, how did I do this? Basically, it's the dark feminine energy, whereas the masculine is very, very tuned into your energy. So, if you're spoiling yourself, if you're loving yourself up, then he's going to amplify that, which is basically what happened. Because I was spoiling myself and loving myself up, energetically the masculine comes in to amplify that. So just take a moment to think about how freaking powerful that is. It gives you all the power, really, and it saves you from one feeling like you're missing out, but also the powerlessness of feeling alone and lonely, and there's nothing you can do, and that you have to try and find someone. It's so hard and it's so hopeless. It's actually just because you don't know how to do it. So get into the mindset that whatever you want him to do it for yourself. In the words of Miley Cyrus, buy yourself flowers. Um, and anything else intuitive that you feel like, if you're on like a dating site and you feel like it's just really toxic, then get off it. Like, if it's making you feel like shit, then do not stay around it. You've got to keep those standards really, really high. And there's a whole nother video on how to get rid of the dickheads and the low quality ones. But this is more about, how to get the masculine, how to call the masculine in from out of freaking nowhere. Um, so I've just given you number one. Now I'm just gonna talk to you a little bit about what turns a masculine on and what turns the masculine off. Define masculine. So anything, as I've already said, anything to do with you already loving yourself up and spoiling yourself will energetically activate the masculine. And it's but you can't do it just to call in the masculine, because then you have to genuinely be doing it to love yourself up. So in that dinner that I did with the Valentine's Day, I did that so that my cup would feel full and I wouldn't feel mopey and depressed and miserable on Valentine's Day. I did it to love myself up and to feel great. And then the masculine comes in as a byproduct of that. So it's really often indirect. But there is some direct things you can do. Like, once you understand how men operate, there are some direct things you could do. So, what can you do? You can ask men for things. You can ask men that aren't even your partner yet for things, or will never be your partner, because the driving force of the masculine is to provide. So the masculine will love to provide for you. That's why you can ask men for many, many things, and even if they don't know you, they will give it to you. And I mean, it's got to be within reason in terms of how well you know them a lot of the time. So if you don't know a man that well, just ask him for something small. And this is probably going to feel really uncomfortable for you in the beginning. So I asked a man who I've never even met that was coming around to my place to buy a pot plant this morning. I asked him if on the way he could bring me a coffee. Now, that may seem in this culture pretty bold, pretty rude almost. But because I understand how the masculine works, and I really didn't care whether he said no, I'm like, well, I'll try. And not only did he bring me a coffee, he didn't ask me for any money and he brought me a better one than I asked for. So I just asked for, can you bring me like a 7-Eleven coffee? He's like, no, don't you want a better one than that? And he went and bought me a more expensive coffee. And this is a man that I don't even know. So it's because they love to provide, and they love to provide for women. Like, it's a huge turn on for them. And if they're being kind of stingy, like, for example, um on a date, if you're organizing a date with them and they're being kind of lazy and they're being kind of stingy, then you know that they're not in their power, then they're in shadow, like they're wounded. So you don't want that. Like, a man in his power will love a woman with standards who knows what she wants and can ask for what she wants. And so when you can do that, you're going to start repelling the ones that are just in it, to use you. Okay. So what turns the masculine off? So this, and I made this pact with myself a really, really long time ago, is to never ever wait by the phone for a guy. Because it's so easy to do, but this energy is really, really off-putting because it's needy, it's desperate, it's empty. It's not a fun, fulfilled, loved up energy. That's the energy that they love, this fulfilled, loved up energy. So it's about pouring into yourself as much love as possible. You don't even need to worry or think about him. Like, you may have to do like a few small actions, like go to an event, or go on a dating app if it feels right. If it doesn't feel right, don't. You don't have to be on a dating app, but if you feel inspired to, you can. You may need to do those things, but the main thing is that you love yourself up, and that sends out a vibration of love, self-love, which the masculine finds irresistible. So you've got to believe in energetics, because there is magic when it comes to calling in love and romance. And I think everybody, even the most skeptical person, will agree with this, that the stars have to align, but actually do have a lot more power in this than you want. So than you maybe thought. It's not just a matter of waiting for the stars to align. It's You can do things, and the more you fill yourself up, the more that you make yourself happy, the more he feels that, and the more irresistible he finds that. So let's just talk a little bit about what turns off the masculine. I've talked a little bit about that waiting energy. Basically, it's anything negative. So the divine masculine hates anything negative. Like, he hates anxiety, he hates complaining, he hates crying. You probably don't want to hear that, like, if you're a big crier, but like I am. But I've kind of learned that to put my crying side to one side. I used to kind of dump it on the masculine, and he would get really, really stressed out by that because I think I wanted him to like take my pain away. And then I learned that stresses him out. That turns him off. So I'm going to not I'm going to have my crying time as my own private thing, and I'm not going to involve him in it because it doesn't create intimacy. It just stresses him out. So, yeah, complaining, anything wounded, like complaining, bitching about other people, crying, all this type of stuff, waiting around, being in the victim mindset, just anything negative will, clinginess, neediness, it will all push him away. So, really, it is your responsibility to be, you need to take responsibility for those things and not put them onto him because it'll make him run, run, run far, far away. And if you've done that, don't worry because you can get it back by flipping your energy around. And I mean, assuming that he is the right one for you and he's ready, um, all you have to do is flip your energy around. So I'll give you some examples. When the masculine generally turns up for me, I've told you about Valentine's Day, but often if I'm doing art, I will always get called for a date when I'm doing something creative, when I'm lost in the moment. It's not always the guy that I want, but I'll pretty much always get asked on a date when I'm doing art. Sometimes when I'm at the hairdresser, and by the way, this isn't just dates. Sometimes it's job opportunities and money because money is it's the same frequency as a man. Money is masculine energy, so sometimes I'll get a client when I'm doing these things, but generally when I'm doing art, it's very specifically a date. Um, so yeah, it is quite magical how this all works. So yeah, doing art or, if I'm in the beauty parlor or, that obviously that Valentine's Day dinner frequency was extremely powerful. One, um, but you've just gotta, there's a little caveat, like you can't just do it just to get a boyfriend. You've got to do it because you actually love yourself, and you make yourself the number one priority and make yourself as happy as possible, and don't even worry about him because it's just absolutely inevitable that he's going to show up when you're in that frequency. So it's almost like you do have to forget about him, which is sort of paradoxical. Um, but that's how it works because when you're not thinking about him, when you're not worrying about him, then he's got all the space in the world to come towards you. If you're thinking about him, like you're looking at him, that energy sort of repels him. Like he wants to have the space to come towards you when he basically wants to think that it's all his idea. And if he knows that you're trying to get him, you're scheming, you're trying to pull him towards you, then that just makes him like run far away. It's really repelling to him. He wants to feel like you're not even thinking about him and he's going to surprise you with his presence. I I hope you like my slides. Like I didn't know how many to use, but I think they're really, really pretty, and I've had these for a long time. And this spider web's actually a symbol of like the feminine magic, and I just thought it was beautiful, so I'll put that in there. Um, Yeah, and I also love lights. Like, I love fairy lights. I've got some in my house and they're around love hearts. And yeah, it just makes me really, really happy. So, yeah, it's a bit of a mindset shift because we're so taught in this culture that if we want something we go after it, right? And that's a masculine mindset. Like, that is what a man does, and that's what patriarchy teaches us. And I'm not saying that's bad. Like, in some situations that can work really well for you, but in your love life, if you're the feminine and you want to attract the masculine, then you need to be in the feminine polarity, and the feminine polarity does not do that. So the feminine is the opposite of that. So she draws in the masculine by not being there, by having her energy elsewhere. It's like a reverse vacuum. So the less you are thinking about him or trying to get him, and the more you're focused on creativity, then that draws him in because it's the feminine polarity. It's something that is not talked about in patriarchy. Patriarchy would be like, okay, well, if you want a man, go on a dating app, go to singles events, like, have your goal and then go for it. But actually, the feminine is really, really indirect. So she magnetizes by being the opposite pole, by not trying to get anything and just being in a natural creative energy. So it does take a bit of, if this is a new concept to you, or even if it's not quite mentally a new concept for you, like you've heard it before, it actually does take quite a bit of practice to rewire yourself, because you actually have to actively not try at all. um yeah, you actually have to not try to get a boyfriend and not even try to get money. So how, like, what a mind fuck is that in this society? To, if I want money, I've got to, like, not try and get it. I've just got to be happy and have fun. So I can do another video which is more on money. I do have some products already, like low cost digital products on money, like how to manifest money without a 9 to 5 job is one of them. And yeah, so getting money by not trying to get money, like, oh my god, this, it's the same thing. It's a reverse feminine. You create and then you just remove your energy and create something else, put a price on it if you like, and then see what happens. So, this is my last slide. I hope it has inspired you. Um, I am going to be, I've got some memberships on Patreon. Like, if you want more detailed and longer trainings, there is a membership option. If you want to have a look at my shop, at my digital products, yeah, have a look there. Otherwise, I hope you have really, really enjoyed this training and you can start practicing loving yourself up and seeing what happens. I'd love to hear your results.